eastern side of the Peruvian section of the Andes, a small stream begins its long journey down to the sea, fed by melting snow and ice. After leaving the peaks at an altitude of over 5,000 meters, it becomes a river and moves inland into one of the most fascinating landscapes on the planet. The richest and most highly complex ecosystem on Earth develops along the banks of the river, the tropical rainforest. The diversity of its flora is 15 times greater than that of any temperate forest in the world, and it may contain over 4 million life forms which have yet to be discovered. Rivers and streams are everywhere in a land where rainfall is a constant feature and may reach, in some places, levels of up to 11,000 millimeters a year. All of these come out in one single channel, a river that takes a fifth of the world's fresh water down to the sea through impenetrable jungle. Francisco de Orellana and 50 of his men traveled down the main river to its estuary for the first time in 1542. On their way, they fought battles and skirmishes with many indigenous peoples over provisions. One of these tribes stood out from the rest, a legendary tribe feared by other Indians of the region, a tribe led by female warriors. The explorers called them Amazons because of their similarity with the legendary women of ancient Greek tales. From that moment, the river, which had up until then been called the River Marañón, became known as the River Amazon. The Amazon basin extends over an area of over 7 million square kilometers, which is 25% of the total surface area of South America. It is an immense plain, almost uninterrupted by hills, and almost totally covered by different types of tropical forest. The jungle is so dense that in some regions it covers the rivers completely. Inside, less than 5% of the sunlight manages to pierce the dense layer of vegetation and reach the ground. This vegetation plays an important role in local ecology. Its thick mesh prevents the continual rainstorms from eroding the soil. Also, the plants send back to the atmosphere more than half the water that falls as rain in these jungles by means of the transpiration stream. The water that is not used by plants becomes part of the rivers. The basin is so huge that in spite of the protective action of the vegetation, 1,000 million tons of sediment are deposited in the sea every year, and its daily water flow is equivalent to that of the River Thames in a whole year. At its widest point, there is a distance of 50 kilometers between the banks. The water does not stay at the same level all year round. Seasonal rains in different parts of the basin alter the water level, and the sea tides affect the later stages of the river every day. When the water level rises, the flatness of the land and the lack of raised areas leads to numerous floods. When the waters subside, they leave lagoons and ponds behind them which gradually disappear. The fish that have not been able to return to the river are left stranded on the forest floor. It does not take long for the herons to discover them, and they fly down to enjoy this present from the river. The trees on the riverbanks are covered by thousands of birds of different species. There are abundant supplies of both food and water, and there are only minor differences between the different seasons. The average temperature is around 25 degrees centigrade throughout the year, and there is no real dry season. In these conditions, there is no need for the birds to emigrate, and many stay here permanently. Visitors from the neighboring Orinoco Basin arrive attracted by the abundance of food. When living conditions in the llanos of Venezuela become difficult, the wood ibises fly over the mountains of Guyana and into Amazon lands. They stay here until breeding time, when they fly back to the rivers where they were born to raise their young.